Are you looking to buy a home or sell a home in 2026? If you are, there's some things that you need to know. I'm Christina Roberto with Keller Williams Realty in North Central Ohio, and today I'm going to talk to both buyers and sellers about renovations in homes because not every renovation adds value to a home, and there's some things that are really important for buyers right now in this current landscape that we're in, that sellers might need to know about. And if you're a buyer, I want to talk about some of the things that we really should be looking for in a home as we go through, as far as renovations and upgrades are concerned. So, the first thing I want to talk about is energy efficiency. Sellers, I cannot tell you how many buyers these days, as I'm walking them through homes, are asking what the utility bills are for these homes. We all know that we are feeling the pinch, whether we're renting or we own a home, with utility bills now. So your electric bills are going up, your gas bills are going up, and buyers are really starting to get sensitive to this. And so when I'm walking them through homes, I am more often than not, I would say 85% of the time, being asked, can you get utility bills for me so that I can understand roughly what it costs to live in this home? It is becoming something that, 2 years ago, that probably wouldn't have been number one on my list of things to talk about today, but it is now. So let's talk about what some energy efficiency things that buyers are really looking at these days. High efficiency HVAC systems, to include the wall controller. Okay, those things are really important. So an updated HVAC system with air conditioner or heater or whichever, boilers, those things. Those are very efficient, and buyers know it. And so when they see that, they automatically feel that a house is more utility sensitive than maybe some other houses they may have looked at. Newer windows are huge. I'm not saying that you have to have updated windows, but I will tell you that buyers notice and they go, oh, okay, well, this is probably a more efficient home. The R value on the newer windows is very high. And it allows heat to stay in the winter and the cool to stay in the summer, and buyers are very well aware of that, and they know it affects the utility bills. Other things that are great upgrades to see as far as efficiency is concerned are added insulation. So if you have maybe a turn of the century farmhouse, if you can put added insulation in there, that's always something that buyers love to see. Tankless water heaters are becoming more popular because they are more efficient. Even if you don't want to get into all that, because it can be a little bit more pricey than a regular water heater, just an updated water heater. If the water heater you have is very old, the newer water heaters tend to be more efficient. So buyers love seeing those kinds of things be updated and more efficient. Energy efficient appliances are another one. So a newer refrigerator that's more efficient. Those kinds of things. So those are all things that they're looking at. Efficiency is no longer a bonus, it's becoming necessary. And as our utility bills continue to climb, buyers are going to get more and more sensitive to it. So like I said, a couple of years ago, this wouldn't have been on number one on my list of things to talk about today, but it is now because I'm hearing it all the time. The second thing I want to talk about is updated kitchens. They still win the day. A kitchen that has been updated, even if all the cabinets haven't been updated, but there's new countertops. The stone countertops still make a huge wow factor for buyers when they're walking in. It's not a must, but at least consider doing some minor updates to your kitchen. It really, I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes to a buyer when they walk in and they see a relatively even updated kitchen. So things like new appliances, new flooring, a nice backsplash, those things are important. They make a big impression on buyers, and they love seeing it. And again, I don't have a lot of buyers that walk in and say, oh, they did the countertops, but the cabinets are older. If they just spruced up the cabinets, even painted them and changed the hardware on them, and then put a nice new countertop in, buyers are all about it. They love it. So with that said, know that changing the hardware on your cabinets can make a world of difference. This is a very inexpensive change to make, and it does make a big impression. So if you have cabinets that have kind of an older style hardware on them, if you can update that, it's very simple, take you about an hour. to modernize that, that makes a huge, huge difference. So you don't always need to rip out the entire kitchen, but doing small updates around there will go a long way. Bathrooms. Let's talk bathrooms. Um, Again, not something you need to rip out your entire bathroom and start over on, but if you can like change out the vanity or maybe just the fixtures, the flooring in the bathroom, update the toilet, that's nice too. People like to see that. Paint and hardware and fixtures go a long way in bathrooms. A bathroom is a bathroom. It functions the same way for everybody, but those little updates make a huge difference. I will tell you though, that when I have buyers walking through houses, and you buyers out there will totally understand what I'm saying. If you walk into a bathroom where they have pulled the tub out and they've put one of those nice, beautiful tile showers in, that's always a wow factor. I'm always getting, wow, look at that shower. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like this fancy, fancy thing. But it just looks so nice when you have those walk-in tiled showers. And then like even replacing the doors, if you already have a walk-in shower, but you have like an older set of doors on there, if you can take those out and put a frameless, so if you know what I'm talking about, if not, take a look at like homedepot.com or some of those places. There are frameless door options that look way more modern. And so that's another change that you could make in the bathroom that would modernize it. Buyers love it. The number one thing I will say that buyers love, but it really isn't a must have, so don't panic if you're thinking about redoing it and you don't have the space for this. They love a double vanity. When I walk into a house with a double vanity or double sinks with buyers, inevitably, if they're a couple, one of them looks at the other and says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of sharing a sink with you. I love this bathroom." So I hear it over and over again. Again, it's not a deal breaker generally for anyone, but it is something that if you have the space to do it and you're considering redoing your bathroom, I highly suggest you put the little bit of extra money into doing a double sink or a double vanity. The next one on the list are flexible living spaces. So what does that mean really? Obviously a master bedroom is really only going to ever be used as a master bedroom or a primary bedroom. So when I talk about flexible spaces, I'm talking about things like finished basements, right? So a finished basement can be used for lots of things. They might use it for an office. They might use it for a movie room or someplace to just a second living room for people to hang out. Maybe they have children and they can make that the playroom. So that is a very flexible use space. So if you have a house that has a basement that could be finished, but it isn't, and you're looking to add some value to your home, that might be something to consider. Just know that you're not going to get dollar for dollar in a basement, the square footage, the per square foot value that you do upstairs when the house gets appraised. But that flexible space is something that buyers love to see. Another flexible space would be a bedroom, maybe a smaller bedroom that could also be an office. So that's something, if you can make something kind of look like it's dual use, that's a great idea. And then another thing for out in Ohio that a lot of people don't really think about is outdoor living areas. So we don't get to be outside all year round in Ohio. It's not like California or Florida where you can kind of be outside pretty much year round. We definitely have seasons here, and in the winter you're not outside a lot. So a lot of my buyers will love walking into a house and then looking out the back slider doors and seeing a nice patio out there, because they can envision putting outdoor furniture out there, maybe a fire pit, a nice pergola, and then it becomes another room for use in the house. So is that a deal breaker? No, but again, it's something that buyers love to see, and I will hear, "Oh my gosh, look at how nice that back patio is. I can see myself having coffee out there in the morning or watching the sunset in the evening." So something to consider about those flexible living spaces. And then the last thing I want to talk about are smart home features. So do you need to have your entire house computerized? No, you don't. But I will tell you that when buyers see things that are smart home features, they love the idea. And even if you're not thinking about selling, and these are great features to have that you can use in your day-to-day life. I use mine all the time. So things that, like, if you have the smart HVAC pod, like a Nest on the wall, where you can program that. It can be run maybe with Alexa or Google Assistant. Those kinds of things are great. Any lighting that you redo, you might want to consider getting like hue lights or something like that that connects to those um, um, that connects to your phone or to Google or Alexa, because it's just really nice. I have mine done that way. Everything's programmable from my phone. When I'm not at home, I can control it. My lights can change colors. I can set mood. So I like to set things differently based on the time of year. So at Christmas time, I'll do something fun with the lights, those kinds of things. Um, Also, if you have like scent plugins in your wall, if you can get the kind that, that can be worked from your phone, those are all wonderful items to have, and buyers do love to see them. But again, outside of buyers, they are super convenient for you. So buy them and put them up and use them. They're really help you with efficiency of your home, especially like the Nest HVAC things that you can set the temperatures. You can save yourself a few bucks in your utility bills. So anything that can be run in that way and be more efficient is something that buyers are loving to see. Again, none of this is a deal breaker, but it's certainly something that you can utilize now, and that will be a nice plus for buyers going forward when you do decide to sell your home. So let's talk about what all of this means for sellers. You don't want to renovate blindly. You want to think very hard about what money you're putting towards the house and what you're going to get back out when you do decide to sell. So the things that I have talked about here, especially the first three, the efficiency of utilities and those kinds of things, anything that you can do to make that better is going to be huge, as well as bathroom renovations and kitchen renovations. So those are the things that you want to make sure that you're putting money into smartly, and not just doing things that don't really matter in a house at the end of the day. Not every dollar you spend will you get back out. So you need to know that as a homeowner, when you renovate things in your house, you're not going to get all that money out dollar for dollar necessarily. But certain things will give you a higher return than others. So again, HVAC, utility things that will save on utilities, you're going to get a higher value for your house out of in some ways. And then renovated kitchens and bathrooms are also where you're going to see the most return on that. Now let's talk about what this means for buyers. Updated homes move quickly. So I've been telling all the buyers I'm working with now, when we walk into a home that's relatively updated, or very updated. I had a fellow, I was showing him a house last week, and he says, okay, I really like this one. It's really updated. I think this is the one I want. I'm going to go home and think about it for a couple of days. And I advised him against that. I was like, yeah, I don't know if you have a couple of days, because this house is really, really nice and really updated. And as it turned out, they had multiple offers by that evening. So I was not wrong on that. So just know that if you, as a buyer, we're out looking at homes and we walk into one that is really updated and just kind of move in ready, that is not going to stick around that long. So you're going to have to make your decision relatively quickly and get moving on it. So just in closing, if you're thinking about buying or selling in North Central Ohio, please give me a call. I'm Christina Roberto with Keller Williams Realty. You can drop an inquiry in the comments. You can message me, any of that stuff, and I will reach out to you. I can come to your home if you're a seller, and we can talk about renovations, and I can kind of give you an idea of some of the things that I think that you could do over the next year before you get the house sold. Or if you're ready to sell, we can talk about the little quick things that you can do now. And if you're a buyer, also reach out to me, because I walk through so many homes in a year. And over the course of my career, I've been in 2,000 plus homes at this point. So I really know what I'm looking at. And if you want a real estate agent that can walk you around and talk to you about some of the really important things in a home that you should be looking for as a buyer, I'm your girl. So give me a call if you want. My phone number is 419-908-3330. Thank you all for listening today. I really hope that this was all helpful information for both buyers and sellers.